Hi guys, I hope you aced your test tomorrow and ace for Annabella. Don't forget that. Please.
She said an A is for Annabella, in case you were wondering. Alright, this is number 1 for homework. So we're going to go over it today. This is our review. Our test tomorrow will be very similar. No, it will not be the same actual questions, but they will be similar. So what you do is you look at the first side, which is over here to our left, and we're going to see that we can combine certain things. We can combine a 6y with a negative 8y. And we can combine them because the variables are the same. So what we're going to do is we're going to go off to the side and say 6y minus 8y. Okay? Well, this is 6 minus 8. So I have a little number subtracting a big, therefore my answer will be a negative, and then you just work backwards. 8 minus 6 is 2. So now I have 2y. I'm also going to see that I can combine a negative 8 and a negative 6. Well, a negative 8 and a negative 6 are both negatives. So negative 8, negative 6 means you owe someone $8. You owe someone $16 more. So therefore you owe them a negative 14. So we have negative 14. And then everything else stays the same. So now you just have a simple two-step equation. We've done these since the first week of school. So you look at the equation, and in this case it's y. So I have, y is being multiplied by 2, and it's being subtracted by 14. So the opposite would be to subtract 14 on both sides first. And if you don't understand how to do this, you need to go watch the video of two-step equations. Now remember, if it was subtracting 14, to get rid of a negative 14, we do a positive 14. So to get rid of a subtracting 14, I add 14. Here, whatever you do to one side, you do to the other. So add 14, add 14. So now I have 2y equals 18. So now you're going to look at y again. What is happening to y? Y is being multiplied by 2. The opposite is to divide by 2. So now I have y equals 9, because 18 divided by 2 is 9. So therefore this is your answer for number 1. Okay, I'll leave it up for a couple of seconds. Alright, ready? Alright, let's do number 2. While I'm erasing my board, you go ahead and copy number 2 off of your Blackboard assignment. Alright, we have 2x minus 2 parentheses 4x minus 3 equals 6 minus 6x. Gotta make sure that whole thing is in the screen, and it is. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to notice that there's an equal sign. So because there's an equal sign, I'm going to draw a line straight down so that I understand what's happening on one side is separate than what's happening on the other. So first thing we're going to do is what's called distributive property. There's a whole separate video on that if you're not familiar with it, but we have done it since the first week of school, so we should be used to it. So this symbol right here, this 2x, is not next to the parentheses. Therefore the 2x comes straight down. Okay? We are distributing what's next to the parentheses. What's next to the parentheses is a negative 2. So we're going to draw an arrow from the negative 2 to the 4x. And we're going to draw an arrow from the negative 2 to the negative 3. Okay? On this side over here, there's no parentheses, so I cannot distribute. So we're going to come over here. Negative 2 times positive 4. Negative times a positive is a negative. 2 times 4x would be 8x. Okay? Negative 2 times negative 3. Well, a negative times a negative is a positive. And 2 times 3 is 6. Everything else comes straight down. And the reason it's coming down is because there's nothing over here I can do right now. So now I look at my left again. There is something I can do, and the majority of the time after you distribute, you will have to combine. So I can combine these. You may not combine these with this. The line is there, so it's like a wall. You understand that you cannot combine something in this room with this room. Okay? So here we go. We go off to the side. We have 2 minus 8. We'll have a little number subtracting a big, making it a negative, and 8 minus 2 is 6. So this would give me 6x plus 6 equals 6 minus 6x. So this is where I stop like I always do, and I look. This right here and this right here are called coefficients. They're numbers before the letters. If they are different, and they are, see, positive 6, negative 6, now I got to solve the equation. So distribute, combine, now I got to get the variables on the same side. So we're going to do the opposite of this, because we want this x to move over here. So the opposite of subtracting 6x would be to add 6x, and you're going to add it to both x's. This side would cancel because a negative and a positive with the same number cancel. Okay? And so here I would add 6 plus 6 is 12x plus 6 equals 6. And again, I'm right back where I was to step in problem 1 with a 2-step equation. I'm exactly where I was. So subtract 6, cancels. Now I bring down. Well, this is going to cancel also, but 6 minus 6 is 0. We're going to bring our 12x down. So now according to this, I have 12x equals 0. We're going to check to make sure that we're right so far, and it looks like we are. So what we're going to do now is we're going to have to divide both sides by 12. Because again, we want to get x by itself. So if 0 divided by anything would make it 0. And that is our answer. So once we get to here, this right here will be the same steps in problems 3, 4, 5, 6, almost all the questions. Once you get to here, move the variable to the left, move the numbers to the right, 2-step, 1-step answer. Okay, let's do number 3. What you reading, Bella?
Skippy John Jones.
Skippy John Jones. All right, number 3. Go ahead and write number 3 down. Now remember, we talked about this in class. There's an accident on here. There's a typo. Here in the middle, it should be a subtraction symbol, and in the actual Blackboard homework, it's an equal sign. So on your homework, make sure you change it to a subtraction symbol. Okay? So if I look, this is called an expression because there is not an equal sign. An equal sign has an actual equal sign, which means you can solve it and get an answer. An expression does not, which means you can simplify it, but there's not going to be like a x equals 3. There won't be anything like that. So what we're going to do first is we're going to look right here. 3m is not next to parentheses. So that makes the 3m come straight down. Here I have a negative parentheses. Well, there's not really such a thing as a negative parentheses. What it is, it's an invisible 1. So it's actually a negative 1 times what's inside the parentheses. So we're going to draw our arrow. Okay? So now I have negative 1 times positive 7. That gives me negative 7m. I have negative 1 times negative 12. Well, negative and a negative make a positive. Over here, I'm going to distribute this 2. Okay? So 2 times m is 2m. 2 times negative 3 would give us a negative 6. So we distributed our whole problem. Now what we're going to do is we're going to combine like terms. Okay? So here we go. I have this and this can be combined with this. And they all can be combined because they have the same variable. So what Ms. Park's going to do is she's going to notice what's positive and negative. Okay? This is super easy. 3 is positive, 2 is positive. So let's add those together first. 3m plus 2m gives us 5m. I'm going to cross them off since I did it. What I have not combined yet is this negative 7m. So now I'm going to take this 5 and subtract a 7m. Well, look, a little number is subtracting a big, and we've done that now 3 times, which gives us a negative. And then we go backwards. 7 minus 5 is 2. So now I got that those combinings gave us a negative 2m. Now I'm also going to combine my numbers. These are called constants, numbers by themselves. I don't really have to go off to the side to do that, but I can. I have 12 minus 6. What is 12 minus 6, Annabella?
12 minus 6 is 6.
Yeah, it's 6. Good. So now I'm going to take this positive 6 and I'm going to combine it with this. And that's your answer. You can't solve this because there is not an equal sign. So therefore, that's your answer. You're finished with this problem. Okay? All right, let's do number 4. Okay. So we're in 4, so go ahead and write it down. I have 9 minus 5k equals 12 minus parentheses 6k plus 7. All right, so we're going to do exactly like we've done in problems 1 through 3, and we're going to do it in 4. Where there's an equal sign, you draw a line. Okay, so go ahead and do that. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to see on this side there's no parentheses and there's no combining. So this is the great on the side where this side's finished. This side, however, is exactly like the last problem we just did. The 12 is not next to the parentheses because there's a subtraction symbol in the middle. Therefore, the 12 comes straight down. And when I see a negative in front of parentheses, I really know that it's really an invisible 1. So I go distribute that negative 1. And what that will give me is negative 6k, negative 7. This guy just comes straight down. You can't do anything to him. Okay, so now what you're going to do is you're going to combine like terms. Nothing can be combined on this wall. So we're going to go over here. Can something be combined over here? Well, sure. We have 12 minus 7. Okay? So this side comes down. 12 minus 7 gives us 5 minus 6k. Equal sign goes in the middle still. So we combine, we drop down. Now because we have a coefficient with a letter and a constant, coefficient and a letter and a constant, we can actually solve it just like we've done before. You want the variable on this side. This is the variable that's a negative 6k. How do you get rid of a negative 6k? Well, of course, you add a 6k because they would cancel. We're going to add a 6k here. Okay? Our 9 comes down. We have a negative 5 plus 6. For those of you that are still struggling with integers, negative 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Negative 4, negative 3, negative 2, negative 1, 0, 1. So that gives us a positive 1k. Equals, bring down that 5. Now, a lot of you hate it when it looks like this. So if you don't like it when it looks like this, just flip these two. As long as the symbols match, it's fine. So if you want to do it like this, that is perfectly okay with Miss Perla. So now what you're going to do is you're going to get rid of that 9. So we are going to subtract 9 from both sides. This side would cancel. Drop down. I have 1k equals, well, I have a little number subtracting a big, making it a negative. And 9 minus 5 is 4. So now I have a negative 4. Okay? So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to divide by 1. But most of us know anything divided by 1 stays exactly the same. That's right, Bella. So therefore, we're done. K equals -4. We're going to look at our work again just to make sure. These are getting a little bit more difficult. This side stayed the same. No big deal. -1, changed. Great. Combined. Great. Subtracted. Added. Good. 1. Great. We flipped it. No big deal. K equals -4. Great. All right, let's go on to 5. All right, 5 is a proportion, which we learned in middle school, but we're doing it again because now we're going to add some equations to it. All right, so let's go ahead and write it. We have 7 divided by K minus 8 is equal to 3 divided by X. I'm sorry, I said K, it's X. All right, so here we go. With your colored pencil, draw an arrow from this numerator to this denominator. And then we're going to write it. The number goes outside the parentheses. The variable or the equation goes inside the parentheses. Every time. Our equal sign comes straight down. Now we're going to draw an arrow from this side, this denominator, to this numerator. And again, we just said the number goes outside and the equation goes inside. Well, this problem now looks exactly like the problems we've been doing. So, 7 times x equals 7x. We're going to distribute that 3. 3 times x equals 3x. 3 times -8 gives me -24. Now I'm to where the variables need to be on this side. So we got to get rid of it here. So how do you get rid of a positive 3x? We have a -3x. This would cancel. 7 minus 3 is 4x equals -24. X is still not by itself because if you look right here, it's being multiplied times 4. So how do you get rid of multiplying by 4? You divide by 4. X equals. Okay? So, a negative divided by a positive will give us a negative. If you struggle here, you need to go watch the division with integers video. 24 divided by 4 is 6. So therefore, that is our answer. X equals -6. You making a puzzle?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Alright, I'm going to go on to number 6 now. What's your puzzle of?
Disney Frozen.
Disney Frozen. Alright, let's write down number 6. Number 6, I have 2x minus 1 is less than or equal to 5x plus 20. Bella, go get Mommy a water, please. Thank you.
Okay.
So you're going to do the same thing that we've been doing, okay? Even though there's not an equal sign, I'm still going to draw a line. Less than or equal to is the same as equal to. No difference. So this looks exactly like the problems we've just been doing. It's literally every single time it's the same thing. There's 1 or 2 things different. So again, I need the variables from the right to move to the left. So how do you get rid of a positive 5x? Well, of course, we subtract a 5x. This side would cancel. We're going to subtract the 5x here. Thank you. All right, when I have a little number subtracting a big, it's going to automatically be a negative. 5 minus 2 is 3x. -1 comes down. Less than or equal to comes down. 20 comes down. Okay? So now it's a normal 2-step equation. We got to get rid of a -1 by adding 1. Cancel. -3x is less than or equal to 21. Still super easy. Okay, so now we know that we're going to have to divide by a -3. So this is where that little trick comes in that we talked about in class. Okay? There's 2 times that you flip a symbol. When you divide by a negative or when you multiply by a negative. And like these end steps, if you divide or multiply by a negative, our less than or equal to, that's been less than or equal to our whole time, would actually flip and turn into greater than or equal to. X comes down. Positive divided by a negative is a negative. 21 divided by 3 is 7. So remember, when you divide or multiply by a negative in two-step equations or one-step equations like this, you have to flip the symbol. Flip it. Okay? Alright, so that's number 6. We're more than halfway finished. Alright. Let's see if we can be finished before Annabella finishes her puzzle. Alright, let's do number 7. Number 7 is called a compound inequality. A compound inequality means that when you graph this, there will be two different dots on the exact same line. Okay? So just like before, why do I always write crooked? So before when we had equal signs or less than or greater than, we drew a line. Well, the same thing happens here. So instead of one line, I'm actually going to draw 2, because there's 2 less than symbols, therefore there's 2 lines. Okay? So what you're going to do is exactly the same as you would do for a two-step equation. You're going to pretend this is not here. So now it looks like a normal two-step equation. So to normally solve this, we would subtract 1 from here and here. So we're going to do exactly that. Minus 1, but we're also going to subtract it from here. Okay? What you do to one side, you do all sides. 1 minus 1 cancels, 2x drops down. 13 minus 1 is 12. 3 minus 1 is 2. Our less than signs drop down. Again, we do exactly like we did in class. We cover this. This is a one-step equation. 2x is less than 12. Well, I need to get rid of the multiplying by 2. So it's the opposite of multiplying by 2. Dividing by 2. So what I do here and I do here means I also do it here. So we're going to divide this side by 2. 2 divided by 2 is 1, cancels. 2 divided by 2 is 1, which would leave us with x, cancels. 12 divided by 2 is 6, and our less than signs come straight down. So our actual answer is 1 is less than x is less than 6. That is our compounded inequality answer. Ta-da. Are you finished your puzzle? Oh, sorry for being so close to my face. Okay, number 8 now. Is another inequality. Notice they're the same things except for an equal sign there's a symbol. So we have negative 6 parentheses, x plus 1 parentheses is less than 2 parentheses, x plus 5. Well, right now a lot of you in your head are saying, draw the line. Okay, I'm drawing it. And then if I asked you what to do now, you would tell me to distribute. Look, it's crooked again. Jeez, I'm too short. Alright, so what you're going to do is you're going to distribute that negative 6. Okay? We're also going to distribute that 2 because it's next to some parentheses. So after we distribute, we solve. I don't know why I keep putting the marker down. Alright, here we go. Negative 6 times x would give us negative 6x. Negative 6 times 1 would just give us negative 6. Less than. 2 times x is 2x. 2 times 5 is 10. Well, if we look, this looks like all the problems we've been doing, we got to get the variable from the right to the left. That's right, the left. So we're doing the same thing again and again and again. So minus 2x, minus 2x. This side would cancel. I have negative 6 minus 2. Negative 6 minus 1 minus 2 would give me a negative 8. Please don't be afraid to do this on the test. I would rather you do that and have it right than not do it and get it wrong. Okay? Less than sign comes down, 10 comes down. We canceled this. Again, simple two-step equation. So I'm going to get rid of negative 6 by adding 6. These will cancel. This will come down. This will come down. 10 plus 6 is 16. So now I'm going to divide. I'm going to have to divide both sides by a -8. This side would cancel. I'm left with x. Now here's where we got to pay attention, okay? We just learned in the last problem, or 2 problems back, that when we divide by a negative, we have to flip the symbol. So some of you are going to want to drop this straight down and put that it's less than, but it's not. We divided by a -8. So that gives me a greater than symbol because I flipped it. This is not anything, it's just a swirly showing me to flip it. Alright, so now I'm going to do positive divided by a negative gives me a negative. 16 divided by 8 is a 2. So therefore my answer is x is greater than -2. Okay? So now we're going to do number 9. Annabella says she finished her puzzle, but I'm looking at one piece not there. It's missing, which means you can't win. I might have hidden the puzzle so that you can't win. We're going to win.
Okay.
All right, we're on number 9.
Okay, I'm going to copy this.
Okay. You gotta be quiet so my kids can hear. Number 9 says, remember, number 9 is what's called a literal equation. A literal equation means there are no numbers. There are only letters. So what you're going to do is we're going to look at this, and it says y equals mx plus b, which is the equation for slope, and we're going to solve for m. So what you do is you ask yourself, what is happening to m? Well, if I look at m is being multiplied by x. Okay? It's also being added by b. So that's what's being done. To solve something, you do the inverse, which of course is the opposite. So the opposite of multiplying by x is to divide by x, and the opposite of adding b is subtracting b. So we don't even need this sign anymore. This tells us what to do. So what you do, again, we always undo subtraction or division. They're not the same. We undo addition or subtraction first, multiplication or division second. If you still are again struggling with this, go to the 2-step equations and watch that again. So what we're going to do, we need to get rid of the b. So I'm literally going to subtract a b here, and I'm going to subtract a b here. Okay? This would cancel. I know that y minus b will not give us an exact answer, so we will leave it as y minus b. Equals comes down, mx comes down. So now I still want m by itself, but m is being multiplied by x. So the opposite of multiplying by x is to divide by x. X's would cancel. So now on this side I have y minus b divided by x equals m. This is your answer. Okay? There's not an actual number. There's not anything. Annabelle's looking on the floor for that piece of the puzzle so she can try to beat us. Okay. So, this is our answer. Alright, so we're on number 10, our last problem. Number 10 says, the length of a rectangle. Oh, a rectangle? I'm going to draw a rectangle. A length and a width. So I'm going to draw a length at the top and a width on the side. Okay? It says, the length of the rectangle is 9 inches less than the width. 9 inches less than the width. Well, that means the width is by itself. So we're going to put a W for width. Okay? Now I'm going to read it again. It says the length of the rectangle is less than, so 9 less than. So that means subtracting 9. And I'm putting width because it says 9 less than width. Well, less than means subtract. And if 9 is less than the width, it's basically W minus 9. Well, then I have to go see where it says twice the width. Well, anything twice means times 2. Okay? So, in the problem, it said there's a width. And then to find the width, it's 9 inches less than the width times 2. So, all we're doing is writing the equation. Now it says to find the perimeter. Well, perimeter is the distance around. Well, if it's a rectangle, if this side is W, this side is W. If the length is 2W minus N, then this length is also 2W minus 9, not N. Okay? So let's keep reading. The perimeter, I'm going to add them all up, equals 84 degrees. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say, okay, let's do this one. 2W minus 9 plus 1W plus 1W plus 2W minus 9. And it says this perimeter means to add up, okay? So 2 plus 1 is 3, plus 1 is 4, plus 2 is 6W. Okay? Negative 9 and negative 9 would give us a negative 18. So we now know that this is the equation for the perimeter. But I also know that the whole perimeter equals 84. So now I have 6W minus 18 equals 84. Well, now you just have a simple two-step equation like we've been doing for the entire review today. So what you're going to do is you see that there's a negative 18. We're going to get rid of a negative 18. And the only way to get rid of a negative 18 is to add an 18. So add an 18, add an 18. Cancel, bring down. 6W equals 4 plus 8 is 12. Carry my 1, 102. Okay? So now I have to divide both sides by 6 because I want W by itself. So divide by 6, divide by 6. This is where some of you are going to reach for a calculator. Don't you dare. Try it by hand. How many times can 6 go into 102? Well, I don't know that off the top of my head. But I do know that 6 cannot go into 1, so that's a 0. Bring down. I know that 6 can go into 10 one time. Subtract, bring down. And I know 6 can go into 42 7 times. So now I know that my answer is 17. Well, remember, that's not the answer. That is the width because we were solving for W. So now I know that W equals 17. Well, that only helps me with half of it. I know that this W equals 17, and I know that this W equals 17. Well, that's great. I still haven't found the length. The length is this equation right here. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take this equation and I'm going to plug 17, because if W equals 17, then that means this W also equals 17. So I'm going to take it and plug it in. Can you see? Okay, good. 2 times 17 minus 9. Now remember, we got this because W equals 17 and the equation is 2W, so therefore we're replacing the W here with the number 17. So I'm going to say 17 times 2. 7 times 2 is 14. Carry my 1, 34. Now I got to do that 9 minus 9. Borrow. 14 minus 9 is 5. 2 minus 0 is 25. Okay? So now I know that the length is 25. Okay? If I want to check my work, I can use my head. It said that the whole perimeter equaled 84. Okay? So that means the whole thing equaled 84. So let's try it. If this is 25, this is 25. So I have 25 plus 25 plus 17 plus 17. Some of you, again, are going to want to reach for a calculator. No, do it. You know what you're doing. 5 plus 5 is 10. 10 plus 7 is 17. 17 plus 7 is 24. 2, 4, 6, 8. Well, in the very beginning, it said our perimeter would be 84. When we just added them up, we got a perimeter of 84. Alright, your test is tomorrow. Study, 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 study. I love you. Goodbye.
Bye. I'm done.